My wife betrayed me by throwing out my family's heirlooms without permission. Hurt and angry, I fought back by setting boundaries, rebuilding what I could, and taking control, turning pain into strength and a better life. My name is Ethan, and I'm 32 years old. I've been married to my wife, Gianna, for 6 years now. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing prepared me for what happened a few months ago. It's still hard to talk about, but I need to get it off my chest. This is the story of how Gianna threw away all my family's heirlooms without my permission and everything that came after. Let me start by telling you a bit about us. I'm the kind of guy who likes to keep things simple. I work as a mechanic, and I've always been practical. Maybe a little sentimental too, especially when it comes to my family. My parents passed away a few years ago, and since I'm an only child, everything they left behind means a lot to me. Gianna, on the other hand, is 31, and she's the opposite of me in a lot of ways. She's outgoing, decisive, and sometimes a little impulsive. She's a graphic designer who works from home, and she's always been big on keeping our house clutter-free. I used to think that was a good thing, until it wasn't. We live in a small house just outside the city. It's not fancy, but it's ours. In the garage, I kept a bunch of stuff from my parents. Old furniture, photo albums, my dad's tools, and even my mom's jewelry box. These weren't just random things to me. They were pieces of my past, stuff I planned to pass down to our kids one day. Gianna never really liked having them around, though. She'd complain about how they took up space or how they didn't fit with her idea of a modern home. I'd brush it off, figuring she'd get used to it eventually. Then one day, I came home from work, tired and covered in grease, and noticed something was off. The garage door was open, and it was empty. I mean, completely empty. No boxes, no furniture, nothing. My stomach dropped. I walked inside and found Gianna in the kitchen, chopping vegetables like nothing was wrong. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Where's all the stuff from the garage?" She didn't even look up. "Oh, I got rid of it. We didn't need all that junk sitting around." I stood there, frozen. "What do you mean, you got rid of it?" "That was my family's stuff, my parents' things." She finally glanced at me, frowning. "Ethan, come on. It was just taking up space. I called a junk removal service this morning, and they hauled it all away." "You're welcome, by the way." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You didn't even ask me." "That wasn't junk, Gianna. That was my mom's jewelry, my dad's tools, stuff that mattered to me." She put the knife down and crossed her arms. "You're overreacting. It's not like we were ever going to use any of it. I did us a favor." That's when I lost it. I yelled, something I don't do often, telling her she had no right to make that call without me. She yelled back, saying I was too attached to useless old crap and that I needed to let go. We went back and forth like that for a while, and by the end of it, I stormed out to cool off. I couldn't even look at her. The next day, I called the junk removal company, hoping I could track down where they took everything. Turns out, they'd already dumped it at a landfill. My heart sank. I spent hours on the phone with the landfill people, begging them to let me come dig through the trash, but they said it was impossible. Everything was already buried under tons of garbage. That was it. My family's history, gone just like that. When I got home, Gianna acted like nothing happened. She tried to make small talk, but I couldn't even respond. I was too angry, too hurt. And that's when the real problems started piling up. See, it wasn't just about the heirlooms. There was more going on, stuff that made this whole mess even harder to deal with. For one, my sister-in-law, Avery, got involved. Avery is Gianna's older sister, 35, and she's always been the protective type. She's single, works as a nurse, and has a sharp tongue when she's mad. A few days after the fight, Gianna must have told her what happened because Avery called me out of the blue. "Ethan," she said, her voice cold, "you need to stop making Gianna feel bad about this. She was just trying to help." "Help?" I snapped. "She threw away my parents' stuff without asking me. How is that helping?" "She said you've been sulking around like a kid, and it's stressing her out. You're acting like she committed a crime." I couldn't believe it. "Avery, this isn't your business. Stay out of it." But she didn't. She kept texting me, saying I was being unfair to Gianna and that I needed to grow up. It was like she was ganging up on me with her sister, and it made me feel even more alone in my own house. Then there was the money problem. A week after the heirlooms were gone, I found out something else that hit me hard. My dad's old toolbox, the one Gianna threw out, had a hidden compartment. I'd never told her about it because I didn't think it mattered. Inside that compartment was $5,000 in cash. My dad had stashed it there years ago as an emergency fund, and I'd planned to use it to fix up the house. Now it was gone, buried in a landfill somewhere. When I told Gianna about it, she just shrugged. "How was I supposed to know?" she said. "You should have told me. You should have asked me before throwing everything out." I shot back. That money wasn't just about fixing the house. We'd been struggling lately. Bills were piling up, and my car needed repairs. Losing that cash made everything tighter, and it started causing more fights. Gianna blamed me for not telling her about it sooner, and I blamed her for acting without thinking. We were stuck in this cycle of pointing fingers, and it was tearing us apart. On top of all that, there was my best friend, Lucas. He's 33, a laid-back guy who works as a carpenter. We've been friends since high school, and he's always been there when I needed to vent. I told him everything over a couple of beers one night, and he was furious on my behalf. "Dude," he said, shaking his head, "that's messed up. She can't just do that and expect you to be okay with it." "I know," I said, "but what am I supposed to do? She doesn't even think she did anything wrong." Lucas leaned forward. "You've got to stand up for yourself, man. If she won't listen, maybe you need to show her how serious this is." His words stuck with me. I didn't want to give up on my marriage, but I couldn't keep living like this either. I started thinking about how to fix things, not just with Gianna, but for myself too. The first thing I did was set some boundaries. I sat Gianna down one evening and told her straight up, "You don't get to make big decisions like that without me anymore. If it's my stuff, my family, my past, you talk to me first. No exceptions." She rolled her eyes at first, but I didn't back down. "I'm serious, Gianna. This isn't just about the heirlooms. It's about respect. You took something from me, and I need to know it won't happen again." She didn't say much, just nodded, but I could tell she wasn't happy. Still, it felt good to say it out loud. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me anymore. Next, I dealt with Avery. I sent her a text. "I get that you're looking out for Gianna, but this is between me and her. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop jumping in." She didn't reply, which was fine by me. I just wanted her to back off. The money situation was trickier. I couldn't get the $5,000 back, but I started picking up extra shifts at the shop to make up for it. It was exhausting, but it gave me a sense of control again. I even sold an old motorcycle I'd been fixing up in my spare time, made a decent chunk of cash that way. Gianna noticed I was working more, and one night she asked why. "Because we need the money," I said, "and because I'm not letting this sink us." She looked away, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of guilt in her eyes. Maybe she was starting to get it. The hardest part, though, was dealing with the loss of those heirlooms. I couldn't replace them, but I decided to do something about it. I called up my uncle, my dad's brother, and asked if he had any old family photos or keepsakes he could share. He did, and a week later, he sent me a box with some pictures, a couple of my dad's old fishing lures, and a letter my mom had written him years ago. It wasn't the same, but it was something. I put it all in a small lockbox and told Gianna it was off limits. She didn't argue. Things with Gianna didn't get better overnight. We still fought sometimes, about money, about her sister, about how we handled stuff differently. But I started seeing changes. She'd ask me before making big calls, like when she wanted to repaint the living room. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. One night, after a long day, I sat in the garage, still empty, but not as painful to look at anymore. I thought about everything that had happened. Yeah, I'd lost a lot. My parents' things, that money, even some trust in my marriage. But I'd gained something too. I'd learned to speak up, to fight for what mattered to me. I wasn't just the guy who let things slide anymore. And honestly, that felt better than I expected. Looking back, I'm grateful for where I am now. The house is still standing, the bills are getting paid, and Gianna and I are figuring it out, one day at a time. It's not the life I pictured when we got married, but it's ours, and I'm okay with that. So that's my story. I'd love to hear what you think. Was there a better way to handle it? Should I have done something different with Gianna, or Avery, or the money? I feel like I made the best choices I could, but maybe you've got some advice I haven't thought of. Let me know. I'm all ears.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.